Hello and welcome to the Money Marketing Podcast. I'm Kimberly Dondo, Digital Content Manager, and in this week's Weekend Essay podcast, we have news editor Michael Klimes with his weekend essay on the pain of advice not taken. Take it away, Mike.
Weekend Essay: The Pain of Advice Not Taken. One of the most painful experiences one can have is when a close friend or relative is on a destructive path and they ignore all warnings. It can still be painful when they are not known or directly related to you, as the power of the story remains. I experienced this recently when I learned about a family member from an acquaintance of mine who has managed to estrange himself from everyone around him. This person has ruined themselves financially with poor decision followed by poor decision. No matter what anyone told this person, they carried on regardless and demonstrated remarkable stubbornness against all common sense. It is the sort of story where you are not quite sure if the character being revealed to you is real. But I have been assured on several occasions from my acquaintance the facts are true, and there are always chances the story could get worse. Here are the details that have been explained to me over the course of several months. This person, who shall remain nameless, moved to the UK 50 years ago with their parents and was in their mid-teens on arrival. They learnt English and were sent off to boarding school for a few years and later studied geology. This person ended up working in the oil industry around the world, from North America to North Africa and various locations in the Middle East. It is my understanding they were exceptionally well paid and did not have to pay tax on their earnings for long periods of time. This was due to the arrangement the tax authorities had with the expats in the places they worked. The person's father was an economist and always implored their child to be careful with their money, maintain a disciplined budget, and not get into debt. These messages appear to have lost resonance from an early age, as the child had to leave the UK to go abroad for work. The individual in question never kept a budget or had a basic understanding of income against overheads. A sense of tragedy was compounded by their personal life that saw several marriages, with one especially focused on money. Over the course of learning about this person, it is apparent they were exceptionally generous with money towards strangers. That took the form of buying gifts for local residents or lending large sums of money to pay for various things. The root of the misguided generosity was a sense of sympathy and wanting to lend a helping hand to those in need. Unfortunately, being too generous can be counterproductive and make the giver a victim of their own charity. The fundamental goal of any financial plan is surely to make you secure before you think of anyone else. We must maintain our own house in order before worrying about other people's. Not everyone lives by that rule, sadly, and can have their financial priorities back to front. The details of the story being told are as layered as the subject of it. Since the character with these financial problems lived and worked abroad for decades, many in his family did not know the true extent of them. They only learned about how large the debts were and the complex entanglements are when they returned to the UK. They had to leave the country they had their last job in, as a war started and ended their employment there. However, what remained were the financial and emotional commitments this person had made to their third wife, living halfway across the world in Asia. Although they did not have a job, they decided to take up fresh commitments in the meantime, such as the adoption of a child. Such behaviour raised eyebrows of relatives who looked on in shock and sadness, wanting to help. My acquaintance said the troubled family member asked for money to fund their commitments they previously underwrote through a high salary. With the salary gone, all the poor decisions from previous years started to come to surface as the person in question returned to live with their ailing mother in England. It was soon discovered she had been supporting her child with significant sums of money. It got to the point where the ailing mother had nothing left, and the wider family were fed up with everything that was going on. The last twist in the tale is the person with financial challenges has managed to move to North America with his third wife and adopted child. No one knows how the story will end, but it is definitely a cautionary tale. All the warnings about not acquiring a taste for credit cards, basing financial decisions on emotion, and not keeping a budget are here. There is no other person I've heard of more in need of financial advice than in the story I relate here from my acquaintance. But financial advice can only benefit those who are prepared to receive advice in the first place. There is a saying I'm fond of: God helps those who help themselves. It rings truer for me than ever.
Thanks, Mike, for another insightful weekend essay. We do hope that you enjoyed it. Please do keep up to date with all our new releases via Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts from. You can also keep up to date with all our new content published on the Money Marketing website, as well as our Twitter and LinkedIn. See you next time.